Look at this big thing I got. I'm surfing. I don't know how I got this.
You surf?
It was my first time.
If you're tuning in,
hey,
this is Coffee with the Roach. However, it's a little bit more difficult of a day, so
yeah, a little bit.
Today's Roach Recovery Day.
Roach Recovery, why is that?
Just smoke a lot of weed, man.
Oh, okay.
But if you haven't guessed it, it's Benji GarciaReyes.
Thank you, Tommy.
With a corncob pipe and his curly hair. And two
Classic.
eyes made out of gold.
Ah, thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Benji, tell us a little bit about yourself, get us acquainted.
I am from South San Diego. I, do my best to entertain people through jokes and video, and, whenever people are around, I just try and make them feel better. I like to help. And, yeah, man, I've been doing comedy for like maybe 3.5 years, but I've been doing videos since I was in middle school.
What was the first video?
Which one? What?
In middle school.
Oh, well, I used to do like what they called like a little like a morning broadcast that they would stream circuit. So I was one of the. I used to do like sports, and I had to rotate and do camera.
You're one of those fucking kids.
Yeah, I was one of those snotty kids, but only because my sister got in there before me, and then yeah, so that's why I've always I wanted to do movies before. I wanted to be a sports hero too. I wanted to do all those things, but then
what sports?
Well, I loved football and baseball, and then I played a little bit of soccer, but I loved football more than any of those for a long time. I like soccer, but no football, like American football, like Chargers and Raiders suck football.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You're
what? No, I'm pretty good.
Way to keep it in the stereotype.
I'm pretty good at regular soccer, though. I played it too. I like that a lot. But yeah, and then I went to church for a while, and that didn't work out. And getting out of in recovery of that, I did some drugs to happen.
What was the religion?
I was like one of those new Christians, those that are really cool and have crappy music.
The NU-Christian?
Yeah, NU-Christians.
Like the rock?
And no offense to anybody, to people, I believe people need, religion because...
No, people need to believe in something. I'm sorry to interject.
No, don't worry. Well, I hit this.
People need to believe in something, but I just find it a little much when you actually look at the book.
Yeah, well, here's how I stand. I don't even care about that. All it is there are a whole bunch of assholes in the world, a lot of them politicians, and I can only imagine what they were like if they didn't pretend to be Christians. If people didn't pretend to hide behind religion, then it wouldn't be so bad. But there are actually people out there who I know are good and they do good because of it. I can't judge anything on that, but when my views come, it's from my own experience.
Behind closed doors, it's all ball gags and leather underwear.
Ah, man, if it did, I should have stayed longer. I would have gone some.
That's just the priests with the altar boys, though, at the same time, man. So you got to be careful.
Careful or
choose your battles.
Careful or hopeful. It depends. Any female
or
priest
white.
Out there?
Then you just got to end.
That's true. You don't even have to think about it. It's like
it just happens.
It's second nature.
Like I used to watch a lot of these things called Families in Crisis on HBO.
Damn, I didn't have access to HBO growing up.
We stole it. Oh. But it was this thing about an altar boy who got molested by his priest. And, he didn't look no different than me. Which got me to believe that I was an ugly kid.
Yeah. Because, why, was he an ugly kid too?
No, he looked like me. He was an average looking kid. An average, chubby, could be mistaken for white, just brunette.
Right, yeah, the fixture, the face.
Yeah, it was the face, the very cherubic.
I think what makes you beanerish is that hair when you let it out. But I think you could pass off as white. White brunette.
I keep it nice and flat.
Yeah, there you go.
Just to get across border lines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do though. Yeah, when you let it out like that, that looks beanerish too.
When if I let it get too long, it starts. Ringlets.
Ringlets like this. Some of us let it. So most of the time, it's full of mud or motor oil. So they don't curl as much.
Mud? Apocalypto, bro?
Yeah. Apocalypse curl.
Apocalypse curls. That's what I see them as because I can't fucking do shit with them.
Yeah.
Just ends my hair day.
Yeah, well, I just really don't do much other than just kind of shower and that's it and let it dry. So it's, it does it by itself. I don't do much. A lot of people come in and they're like if I was pregnant almost, hey, let me get your hair. And they start touching it. And when it's girls, it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, when it's any type of female. When the dudes do it, I'm kind of like, all right. But
the only curly hair I have is very short and it's in my pants. And girls aren't apt to grab at that right away.
It'd be nice, huh?
It would be nice. It would be a power. That'd be my mutant power. If I could have a mutant power, I'd be pervy guy.
Well, my mutant power is that I don't mind curls in my face. So hey, girls, what's up?
Hell yeah. Benji,
as you can tell, right? I do not mind curls on my face. But anyway.
You are the creator, or are you the originator of Up Productions?
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be a long time ago when I first started. It was called No BS TV, which was an acronym was No Budget Stoner Television. And, you know, the acronym sounded good. And then, like, you know, the more the internet evolved and everybody got access to YouTube, there was like 20 other No BS TVs out there, so I ditched it. And I went somewhere more mainstream, which became Up Entertainment. You know, which is Up Entertainment Productions.com is where you go and
right
check
here.
out stuff. Yeah, that's in Productions. But you know, we also run Up Comedy Shows, which is a live version of the shows that we produce. Up Entertainment Productions is like kind of like intent to do internet programming. Like we have No BSPN, which we stream and do play-by-play commentary on sports. Sometimes when we have the blacked out channels for games, whether it's the Chargers or you know East Coast, then we do those. You know. It's usually me, and you know we put our own graphics, and it's a live stream. It's just with color commentary and analysis by me, and I'm pretty good. You know, you heard about football. I used to love it until acid trips. Right now, there's all this information. Acid trips and mushrooms, you know, make everything. You know, they just put everything in perspective, and I know what's important. But all this information that I grew up, you know, living and experience doesn't live out, and I still do it. I still read it. It keeps me busy instead of reading of all the sadnesses of the world, instead of going on CNN and reading that 5 different little kids are missing or dead, or somebody killed their wife. I'd rather read about the sports or, you know, whatever's going on. So, and recently upcoming on June 15th, we're going to have the Nug Life Wrestling, and I'm going to be doing that along with Medicinal Michael. Are you going to be taking part of that too?
I don't know, dude.
I think you are. Yeah, you're going to be doing interviews too, you know, so I think. If not, but yeah, so that's another aspect of it. So, you know, yeah, but Up Entertainment, so, you know, and what it really is like a, how should I say, a mainstream version of like a stoner channel. You know, that way people can watch good programming that maybe isn't, you know, what you would watch on television, but it's done by stoners without all the heavy stoner stuff. It's kind of like to prove that we can do mainstream, be stoners, and be productive, but at the same time we can do both, because we also have like Nug Life Radio and stuff like that.
Fighting the powers. That's what Benji's doing.
Not really fighting anything, just trying to enjoy, you know, this and trying to do the best of it, you know, because if we sit around and do nothing, that's why we're getting shut down.
Perpetuates stereotype too.
Exactly. Aside from the side, we know that a lot of it has to do with money, but if we sit around and do nothing, you know, we're just got, you know, that's what people are going to think we are. Instead, if we try and be an example, you know, or at least some of us be an example, those who can or have the ability to say, hey, I'm a stoner, or I smoke marijuana, or I'm a cannabis patient, because not everybody can do that. Some people have jobs that are at stake, you know.
I really want to apologize, because I did have a car once.
Yeah.
And I was very selfish.
Yes? How so, sir?
I didn't offer help.
How? What do you mean help?
Like driving gear and shit.
Oh, well, don't even worry about that, man. You know, everybody...
Nah, I feel bad about it.
If that was the case, you know, then everybody would have to apologize, and I have to apologize to everywhere where I didn't go. I mean, we all do what we can at the moment. And, you know, I mean, if you really did feel that bad, then, you know, do something about it now, later. I mean, but it's all good.
Because there was a time, you know, I would go to shows, and primarily, many of them, I'm sad to say now, probably kind of phoned in. Didn't really try. Like I try a little more now, because I'm back to the mindset of I want to get this a little better. I want to perfect whatever that is I'm trying to fucking figure out up there. I'm trying to perfect it now.
Yeah.
And no, before I didn't even think about that.
You know, and I don't think you're the only one, because even as hard as you saw me trying, and you see me trying, and like since I started comedy I've been trying, it's kind of always a focus. And with me recently, as of the last couple of months, I haven't like killed necessarily, but I've been more consistent, and I've had less bad days where I don't feel the audience. And what I've learned from it all is just I kind of try and see every time I go up on stage as just, you know, the one time I'm going to go up on stage, because maybe I'm never going to go up on stage again. And I see all that audience as an individual audience, you know, as an individual person, because that's what we are. So then, you know, I try and acknowledge them so they acknowledge me. And then they feel me more right there, and then it's not about me trying to be famous or trying to be the funniest. It's just trying to kind of get them to feel me, so maybe, you know, at least they'll kind of understand my angle. and I have some things to say. If they're good ones, and I have good things to say, right? And the times when it's been like in contests where I'm too self-aware about trying to be funny or trying, it just doesn't flow out the same because there's that pressure.
I'm
right?
to the point with the contests that I don't even get my head in that spot anymore.
I'm trying not to, but it's, like the last one I thought I was kind of good, but I got in there. I just, in my head went into, think what's funny, think what's, instead of just going with, like others. I mean, my sets are always different. I never really write down a set, which early on killed me a lot. Right now it's kind of working because it's a muscle now, and sometimes depending on the audience, I might have the material, or I'll pull it out. But before it was kind of like, a lot of like in between bombing and jokes, but it was experimenting. I think maybe if I were to put down the best ones, I would have one of those, but then it feels too robotic for me, And
yeah, you can't, like...
I'm trying to have fun on stage is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
and when I'm too busy like thinking about what I'm going to say...
Don't get me wrong, dude, like contests, they're fun because it's more stage time and it's just fun.
Yeah.
That's all I think of a lot of it now is it's just, a lot of it's fun.
I'm in the contest on May 24th at the Queen Bees. I know that's gonna be a good audience because they always have good audiences. So I already know it's gonna be a good audience. I'm just gonna try and go out, have fun with that audience. I probably won't win because I don't know how many people can get out there. But if anything happens, that'll be great. I just want to have a good time, and hopefully, when I finish that quote-unquote contest and I don't win, I don't feel like I lost a contest. That's just because I'm just trying to keep in the forth that who knows if I remember when
the first one. The first one of those I went to was a really, really good audience.
Yeah.
And it was like huge audience.
Right? I've been to one of those too.
It was way fun. The second one wasn't as big, but it was more, what's the word I'm looking for? Gratifying. Because there was a pocket of people on this side that all through my shit.
They were listening.
They were into it, and they could hear them like dying.
And so you see, and that's what I want to catch. And I think maybe if we just take it as a performance, and then if we happen to be that good, or we happen to have a good night, and we happen to win on that night, then we can take that on top. Just the whole concept of being deserved is one thing I'm learning to try not to be. Like even if I've worked so hard for stuff, nobody knows what I know but me. Very few people know what I know about myself and what I can do, and I can't get mad at people for them not knowing. All I can do is show them as best as I can and be patient for those that don't have patience for me, that don't know what I know, But they're trying to teach me shit that I already know, and, I have to be patient not to be like, okay, I know, and then if they're teaching me in a messed up way, or when it comes to comedy, a lot, hecklers or producers, comedy producers, hosts, that skip us and shit, I mean, sometimes not even about us, so,
yeah.
But it's hard, I'm human, it takes practice, and if I'm drunk, or I'm too drunk, or I combine with something else, it's like...
That was getting my problem for a minute, too. I was, like I said before, I was getting in a hole where I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing, and,
well, I think you probably were doing not well in balance, because I don't know if you should or shouldn't be doing that. I don't know if it's...
I think back there was things I shouldn't have been doing.
Okay, well, then, there you goes to show I don't know what he was doing, right?
yeah, it was a secret to a lot of people, a lot of things I was doing.
There's a lot of things, a lot of secrets, a lot of people hold.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Anyways, go on, sorry, sir.
I was getting to that point, getting in the mindset, because I was doing it so often, and I was like, I was around, why don't I get more spots, blah, 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 but, you can't think like that, man. It doesn't yield any kind of positivity.
Right? It bitters you up, makes you feel bad.
You gotta just keep it all positive, bro. It's all positivity, man.
Yeah, the more I focused, I would focus on other people's, what they're doing and whatever, is the times I would feel more shortcomings on mine, because naturally already, even if we were to match up next to each other, like the things, it would just, who are we being accountable to but ourselves, we think we're making an impression with others, but our own realities in our mind, and it just takes practice to be like, all right, one, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, and two, if you happen to notice, at least wish them well, so you don't feel bad, because just remember, there's always life after that moment, after that stage time he got and you didn't, just like there's times when you'll get stage time and somebody else won't, like how could I say, like the times when you remember when you and Mike had a good set at American Comedy Company and I didn't, I didn't go on, and you guys got to go on stage and I didn't, and you guys were happy as shit. But you also remember the times when you get to see somebody else, right? And you right?
I'm always happy for other people.
Right. Yeah. So instead of feeling like that could have been for me or whatever, it's something like, man, I want to be on there, I want this shot. But it's just seeing it in perspective. The times you're being grateful for the times you get, you have more fun.
No matter what show I go to, I always say, damn, I wish I was on this
Yeah,
show.
I can't say I don't, man. You always want all the stage time, but how you perceive it and how you react to it. If you think like, oh, they didn't pick me, they're not asking me, people have a lot. I mean, as a person that I put shows together, I know a lot of comics. Sometimes it's really hard to remember some people out of the spot of your mind. but sometimes at the same time you need somebody in particular. You know, you need somebody, and that's how I remember people. Like sometimes I need a lady comic, and why? Because I have too many dudes, and then I need this lady comic to be raunchy and boom, and I'll know who I want. I'll have 3 different ladies that I know will go there, you know, or a comic that, you know, is like chillax or a stoner type, or a white nerdy guy, or a one-liner guy, you know, depending. That way we don't have a show full of the same type, and it's really hard. So you can't really blame anybody for not remembering you. And the best thing you can do is reach out to people and be like, hey, you know, get me available. You know, for me, people don't say no, but you know, if you can spare the $20 a month or whatever, and you want to invest into the stage time, website, you know, business cards, you can't blame anybody but yourself for not putting your name out there, not being remembered. You know, and sometimes if you're being remembered for the wrong things, then that could also be your fault. But you can always go out and do things the other way, right?
Another downfall though is there's a lot of bringer shows, you know, and if you can't bring like a certain amount of people, then that'll also fuck you.
Yeah, the bringer shows, it's a phenomenon, you know, and I'm sure it happens in other industries, but you know, with us, it's pretty much a producer type, most of the time non-comic, that sets up a deal with these clubs, you know, to get you know, profit off the show, and a lot of it stipulates on seats, because you know how many people you get in there, forced to get in there. You also force on some of these clubs a 2-drink minimum. You know, and there's a lot of cheddar. And the worst thing about that is, the most insulting, is that most of these producers book these shows. They get these comics to get 10 people on there and give them their time. And if they don't get there, they don't put them on the show. But if they get their friends there and they get their time, they don't get a dime from that. Everything goes to the producers. It's rare when any of these producers cut you out some cheddar.
And I've had some fun experiences with that. I've had some really shitty ones.
Yeah, well, nothing is one-sided. You can have it with the right people, but in general, it's all how we perceive it. If the producer sees it that, hey, this is a business I'm putting down, I don't think we should see it as bad. But we as comics are like, that's kind of evil. You know, what can we do instead of complaining? Let's put our own show together, and that's, you know, why I started putting shows together, to avoid that. I started doing them no money, you know, for this first year, trying to put, you know, not really ask for money, do anything, give what I could, you know, to learn the ropes. Because I didn't want to ask, you know, or charge, you know, for something that was in progress. Right now, our shows are more refined. You know, that's why we're putting them online and whatnot. So that's when it's like, you know, you're going to be worth the money you see, because these comics are going to come out and make it worth your night. Or you might learn something, or at the very least, you're going to forget about your shit, or learn that you're not the only one, you know, or that there's worse things in the world, or some things really aren't as serious, you know, if you just laugh at them, you know. And that's really why I do comedy. And when it comes to the producers, they kind of just see it for the money. So they see numbers. If you're not here, you're not on. If you don't bring enough, I don't see you again, you know. And sometimes, as you heard me talk about everything the last 2 minutes, it didn't say shit whether it's about being funny or not, you know. And that's why, if it's a comedy show, and that is another variable that really hurts it, you know. You have these people who have never been to comedy shows, and they're there for a 2.5, 3-hour marathon of sometimes some good ones, but most of the time it's people that just brought their friends. It's like they're just running out these clubs for their own personal thing. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that either, but you know, it's not good to overdo anything, right? Toxicity happens in many different, you know, labels.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows all on the same day now, and that's really, it monopolizes, well, not monopolizes, it fucks it up, but it basically does.
Yeah, it desensitizes, and it overflows.
It's like, another comedy show. Like, I've heard people like in lines at the grocery store saying like, oh man, there's a lot of comedy shows out right now. It's like, fuck, man.
And I see it like that, but you also see, okay, well, you know, if there's so many comedy shows, you know, which ones are the best comedy shows from all those comedy shows, or which ones have been around the longest? Which ones can they name?
True.
You see, I mean, we can see like, oh, well, there's a lot of this, but there's a lot of this, but which one's the best one? At the very least, you know, if you can rise above the top and say, you know what, this is a quality show. Why? Because it's always a good experience. It's worth your money. You forget. I mean, whatever reasons you would put into having a good evening, that's worth your money, depending on the total amount. If you can make a best value, because you can do it with anybody you're with. But the things that we provide as comics, you know, material, experiences, just, you know, and because we have the balls to get up on stage and other people don't. And then some of us are good at it, at being able to do that, because it takes a lot of practice, you know, not just wanting to do it. Some cats are naturals. It's all over the spectrum. Everybody's different. But the point is, the people that
the hardest part is getting up there the first time.
Yeah,
the man. First time. What was your first time like?
Dude, my first time, I remember not talking so well into the mic. I remember forgetting, not understanding how many jokes I needed for the amount of time I got, right? And then some of them were just probably premises.
Like, there was a time before, like, I went to a show and it felt like they sprung it on me that, we need you to do 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, it was very early on. It was early.
That's cool. I heard of that.
Uber early.
Yeah, like just me. That
and I was like, oh, wow. That's good, but that's also bad because I've never tried to do that much without having a lot of jokes to go in there. Or not having already a train of thought to go with to finish that amount of time. And but it was a learning experience, man. I got up there and I still did a bunch of stuff and was able to interact and shit. Yeah.
And how'd it go in the end? Was it?
And in the end, I have it on video somewhere.
Not a bomb?
It was not a bomb.
Good. That's good. That's always good. Now more recently, I haven't felt the sting of bombing. I feel the sting of bombing on my performance, even though I don't feel like I know what bombing feels like, because when I'm on stage, I don't give people the feel that I'm bombing. Even if they're not listening to me, or they're kind of not, on their own shit because it's an open mic or whatever, or they don't get it, at least I don't make it uncomfortable where, I make them feel like I'm bombing. Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't feel like I'm bombing. When I feel I'm bombing is when I go off stage and I know that I didn't get them to laugh the way I wanted to, Off stage is when I feel I'm bombing. I never feel I'm bombing on stage, and that's only because I just try and enjoy it. Like I said, it's just one of those things. I don't know whether it's a combination of experiences with the drugs or and learning that I'm reading, because I've been reading. I was reading George Carlin's Last Words.
That's a good book.
It's a good book. Has a lot of wisdom in it, and it puts a lot of questions. And
I haven't read it.
George
Carlin wrote it.
Yeah, it's George Carlin. It's one of his. It's like what he calls a sort of biography is what he mentioned, because it's kind of like an autobiography, but somebody helped him kind of write it based on a lot of ideas he's been accumulating throughout his entire life before he passed away. But it's really good. A lot of hints. One of the best things I remember was this, which was, the moment he said, like something like, the moment I knew that I didn't have to get a laugh every second was the biggest relief. Because I knew I had him captivated.
Mm-hmm.
If you have them captivated, it's just as good, because that's when you can either, teach them something or surprisingly get them really good. So, if you're into those type of things.
What was the first time you noticed or you realized you had the crowd like right in the palm of your hand? In a good way.
Oh, in a good way? On stage or ever?
On stage.
Okay, well, with comedy, man, I don't know. It's been several times. The first time it sprung on me, I was probably, and it wasn't the entire set, it was just a part of the set. Everyone, when they threw me on to do one time like you, and it was at the Salty Frog, and I went and I tried a whole bunch of other stuff that I was just kind of thinking, some of them kind of worked. I have the whole video, but it wasn't all solid. Like, hey, it can be done like I used to be able to do it when I was with people, because when I'm with people, it was me, and that's why I'm programmed much on stage now, because that person that was on stage there was kind of somebody trying to survive, remembering shit, even ruining and stumbling over jokes. But feeling the power of the audience, I think, goes beyond just the stage. If you're just if you can talk to people, and then if you acknowledge people, that's good enough. And if you can amplify that on the stage, if you can get people to feel that, because you really do,
I try to make the eye contact.
Yeah, I've learned that's I was gonna tell you, that's one of the things I've learned from a lot of comics, and then just in real life with people, because when you're looking at your eyes, it means you're not looking at her tits. You know what I mean? It's a tip for the guys, but not really. And in business,
peripheral, bro.
It shows. It's a word for bro.
Lower peripheral.
Yeah, I do. I have it though. That's why I see we have the peripherals, the side peripherals, But with people, respect, and then when it comes to an audience, or people, you make them feel like. And if you go back to them more, or whatever, you get to see them. Sometimes they feel like you're looking at them, and if you go back to them, or if you like you do a lot of crowd work, you get their name. That's how and everybody feels part of it, etc., etc. But. Yeah, man, I think that was the first time at the Salty Frog. I know that answer was like 2 minutes ago, but
thank you. Dropping knowledge with Benji GarciaReyes.
More like experience, like I said, because I've failed a lot, man. Like, I feel now I can say confidently I'm getting better at what I'm doing, but it's only because I failed a lot and continue to get up, And I've never felt I'm a failure, and I'd be a failure if I stopped.
Without sorrow, joy would be benign, Benji.
Exactly, right? Let my friend design this tattoo, and he has that on there. And you can't zoom in, but it's, you can see it on my Facebook page. It's, a microphone, and then, the smiley face, sad face, and all that. He's going to start it on. And it really does. It's truth, most of the people that I know that do comedy is not because they had extra time, and their friends thought they were funny always. Those cats usually don't last too much, or either they last or whatever, but most of the cats that are around here, or even it's like, we're like sad or angry souls. Or
what got you into it?
Well, a lot of things I've always, had.
Did I already ask that?
No.
Okay, good.
I've always had that thing about being on stage or being like the center of attention. I'm a middle child. My younger sister, and my older sister both went to good schools, and my little brother is my little brother. So I end up in the middle, and that I think maybe makes me want the attention. And then I got married, and I was in a bad, been in a bad relationship for a while. And when I finally decided to break out.
How long is a while?
Well, it was a good relationship when we dated, and then something happened, and then we got married. We got married, or something happened, and then it started where it was just kind of like me not being allowed to be myself, me being like having to attenuate my thoughts and my behaviors because she didn't find it acceptable, even if it was with my friends, and me for wanting to go with the flow and wanting to be happy and et cetera, and thinking this was gonna get me to where I was gonna be, like she was gonna want me, or she was gonna like me or treat me like she used to, because at the time she had the need to get out of her house or whatever, and not get pregnant before that, which she wanted to do because it's Mexican, she wanted to be the only one in her generation not to, be married after pregnancy.
Be the oddball.
Yeah, but everybody was proud about that, she was the only one they couldn't question whether, she's wearing white after that, So, and she looked beautiful, she's a beautiful woman, but for whatever reasons, it's been, it hasn't worked. So the neglect and the sadness in my experiences, that's, they were kind of like, they used to be, just regular thoughts about things, but when I got married and more sad, they were kind of like snapbacks that I wanted to tell her, but I didn't. They would stay in my mind, one of the times, like, she used to use my daughter a lot because she's really cute, I love her, everybody thinks their kid is cute, so, she would do things like I was like on the computer, or I was doing something, and she was like, what was that, baby? You want daddy to, warm up your milk, or what was that? You want daddy to change your diaper? And in my mind I would go, what was that, honey? You want mommy to suck daddy's dick?
Changing experience.
Lanny. Well, one I remember that wasn't so much that I fucked up, but it was kind of life changing. I don't know, it was a gang of them, man. I just don't know how legal I want to go in. Here's one. I was helping a friend.
Tip of the iceberg. Let's go there.
I was helping a friend who just had gotten out of jail. And he knew somebody that was, that story's never started out great, right? I was helping out a friend that was getting out of jail.
That's how Harold or Kumar would start each of their movies, if they could.
Anyways, a guy I knew of an estate that was giving away stuff because the person that owned the estate had died or was dying. So he was like, hey man, we can just go get a whole bunch of this stuff. It's in downtown on 10th and E. We'll get in, we'll sell it on Craigslist, I'm like, yeah man, I'll help you out. I had a job. I had like a satellite job. I was installing satellites, and I had my van, so I'm like, yeah, we can use my van. It was like at 10 o'clock at night. We raided the fridge, I opened the beer all over my shirt, blah, blah, blah. On our way out, I had taken this long vase, and I have a thing for glass, and you can see why, and I wanted to make it into a bong, which I kind of still do. It's kind of, me and stuff that looks like bongs is kind of like me and some women where I kind of just want to stick something in it and smoke out of it. But anyways, yeah, I want to smoke out of women too. Anyways, so...
You can do that, though. Have you seen that video?
I think I might have heard that.
One of the things I like to interject on these shows is, if I may,
video samples.
Weird video shit. And I don't think I wouldn't be able to put that clip on here because of copyrights. But I'll give you the basic rundown. It's called I think it's called the pussy bong or something like that.
The punani bong?
It's basically makes the woman the base for the bong.
Okay.
And they stick it in there, and it's got double. I think they put water in there, and they smoke it. It circulates through her and all that shit.
Wow, that's disgusting.
And they smoke out of it.
But I want to do it.
And I've seen video clips of it, and it's fully operational, fully works.
Wow. Well,
I'd be down to do that.
Yeah, I think I'd be down to do it.
But I mean, as long as it's not like that time, you know what I'm saying?
Well, whatever, dude.
that smoke would be thick.
Yeah, that would be some clean, thick, fishy smelling.
It'd be like smoking out of a halibut.
Yeah, like a seafood bong or something.
Seafood bong. Or...
Alright, so I took this vase, right? I'm saying it right.
Ah.
And we were loading it onto my van right on the street, and I fucking dropped it. I dropped it and made this big noise. At 10:35 at night, somebody screams out the window, hey, get away from my van. And I'm like, this ain't your van, fool, whatever. So we go for one more loan, we come back down, and we're dipping. We're on 11th and E, and we get to 10th and E, and then some cop rolls up behind us. Anyways, it was terrible because like 45 minutes later, there were 13 cop cars. They blocked 2 in the front, 3 in the back. They made me walk backwards. All right, they made me sit in the back. They separated us. Yeah, and it was all because they thought that we were stealing that van and we were the wrong color or something. When they let us go, they were like, "Oh, thank you very much, it's just protocol." I was just so shit-faced because on my van, in the center spot between the seats, I had my weed box because I was just moving. And in my weed box, I had like an ounce of Mecki. I had a fucking, like, probably like a 2 or 3 grams of some sort of chronic. And then my tools and shit, and my weed tools. Because I was moving, it was just brand new. I just got on the job, so I was tripping balls like, oh, I'm gonna lose my job. I just got an apartment. Shit was still kind of real like that, and I was almost crying and shit. I was all saying things. I thought I made a mistake, and you know whatever, because I saw the dog run in there, and I was like, oh man, like chills went down my body, and I'm like, you know, I'm handcuffed in the uncomfortable ass seat, and I'm looking, you know, 2 other cars, my van parked way the fuck down the street, and you know, I'm like, what's going on, and yeah, when the guy's like, yeah, we're so sorry, bro. We're just doing our job. I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, I just get the fuck out of here, man. I was pissing myself. And my homie just starts laughing at me, and then he goes and tells his homies that I started crying, and, you know, trying to be the big guy from the story. I was like, fuck you, man. But, man, I was tripping. I thought it was going to lose my job, and I had just got an apartment. It was like a lot of shit broke down on me.
One of the handfuls of times I was in the back of a police car, I really deserved it, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it the DUI?
I was, no, I was in an ambulance then. This one was
that answers that question.
I was
dude.
was 13 and got in a drinking contest again, like I wanted to do, off the wagon, and drank 3 Mickey's Hornets.
That's a lot, dude. Those are the 40.
Yeah, when I was 13.
Oh, fucking Tommy.
3 of those, and then like almost a whole bottle of peppermint schnapps.
What the fuck were you trying to do?
Even as a
it's
child,
here! It's here!
even as a child, I had a problem.
Was there an occasion, or who got it for you? Or, well, not running anybody out, but...
No, I was just doing a dumb kid thing.
Wow. Fuck.
I was like, fuck yeah, dude. But that all ended with me being in the back of a cop car, and then I vomited in the back seat. And they go,
dude,
they threw me a paper tw roll and go, clean that up. And I just grabbed the paper towel and started like,
so what happened?
and then I vomited on the paper towel.
So did you get in trouble, or what happened?
Fucking A, I got into trouble.
What'd your mom
And they said I couldn't remember my name. They put me in a...
How did they find you? What happened?
I was over by the pier in OB. This is many years ago, documented. But I was over by the pier in OB, and my friends were saying, dude, just walk your bike, just walk your bike. And I couldn't walk my bike even. I kept falling over.
So you were living in OB?
I was living in OB back then.
And
I was trying to walk my bike. I couldn't. And the lifeguard saw me and called the cop. The cop came over and busted me.
Did you already have facial hair, or not yet?
No, well, I had like that one long, awkward one.
Were you skinny, or were you the same build?
Skinny, very thin. I was your size.
Oh, you were probably fucking hammered then, huh?
I was tiny.
What did they do to your parents? What did they tell your parents?
I don't know. My mom never really told me.
No? What did they do? How did you get punished? What was your punishment?
My punishment, I think I might have blocked it out. I don't really remember.
Dude, in middle school, the dumbest thing I did was I ran out of gel, and I thought I could use Vaseline.
For what? Jail and Vaseline. When you lead into a story like that.
Dude, I looked like Astro Boy, homie. I was Astro Boy for that day, and I stopped lying about what it really was about 5th period. I was like, yeah, I got Vaseline because I ran out of gel. And that was even funnier than trying to say, no, man, it's that Super 3 Flowers and shit. They're like, dude, are you wearing Vaseline?
You could really sculpt your hair with that.
I did. Well, I had shorter hair. Okay, I didn't have curls. The curls didn't come in until after the drugs.
Curl your hair.
I used to have the fade and shit. I have pictures somewhere in the face space or some shit. But yeah, I had straight. You know, I had the fade. You know, I was like real. I thought I was one of the dudes that thought he was gonna be with one girl his whole life, and you know. Yeah, I was one of those dumbasses. Well, that's what I learned from television. Anyways, and that all came coming down.
Oh yeah, television fucks you up.
Well, not just television. It's a combination of everything, and really can't blame anybody unless you know. No, it's everything.
No, it's that fucking Michael J. Fox.
You know what? That shaky hand does fuck with me. It's like, hey. Even though I've never seen the shaky hand, I'm fucking with you guys.
Oh,
That's a disclaimer. Really?
I've seen it.
You think it's... Nah, I'm not going to go there.
I'm not
It
gonna
was
do
going to be
material.
a disgusting masturbation joke.
Not
so.
doing my material.
No, I'm not either. That wasn't material. I was just going to start, you know...
I stopped myself. That's what I did.
Good.
It's like, that. I cannot lead into that. Cannot. That is just silly. And that would be...
Sometimes.
Unprofessional.
But I was Astro Boy in middle school. That was pretty fucking silly. I was really... Because I was poor. I did a lot of stupid things. But yeah, middle school, I didn't smoke weed. I didn't drink nothing. I wanted to be like, I don't know. My mom was a teacher, so... there was kind of like, she never wanted, she would always like doubt why I was staying home when I was sick. I had to be really sick, you know? And then when she would insult me, she would never use bad words. She would just like tell me like she didn't want to have a lazy son that was society's garbage. All in Spanish words, which sound more strong. You know, she wouldn't use words like pendejo or stupid or nothing belittling. She would like go for like, ow, mom, you know, that. I'm gonna have to figure out what that is, and there was no Google then, so I had to think, you know, for like dictionary words. What does this fucking word mean? But it all sounded really bad and disappointing. So I never wanted to do bad, but I did have like I always had like, I don't know if it's necessarily ADD. I was just, you know, but like I was everywhere.
Only parents can cut that deep.
Yeah, man. Well, she knew me, or she knew what's up, and she was just like that. But she was never like trying to put me down and like because it was that. It was like when it was like she saw that I was either slacking off or that. You know, but she never insulted me in anything. She was, you know, she was always working. She was working for all of us because my dad wasn't around. So, and yeah, so I guess that's why I always kind of had a pressure not to be bad. But I thought I had, you know, and along with what you read and you see the movies with the true love concepts and stuff, you know, meant to be's and all that stuff that's in your head, you know, self-fulfilled prophecies when it's in the MDR, you know, based on a lot of failures in relationships and experiments and thoughts and, you know, a lot of it. The one variable, the two variables that are consistent is one is the fear in it. How far are you afraid to do it? How far are you going to do it? And whether you fear, that's what's going to control you. And number two is how much you believe in yourself. Sometimes whether it's related to the fear or how much do you trust in what you're doing. Whether it's your knowledge in it, how good you are, or just it goes back to the fear. Because if you're not going to get hurt, right? You should just go out and do the best thing you can. That's it. You know, but it's like two things. You know, when people can't do those, people can't be consistent. And, you know, even though they might be really good, they might not last, you know. And sometimes the people that last, you know, get better because they last and they learn. Some people learn more than others, but, you know, it's just everything's pretty much math if you can put a variable on it and you know, eliminate emotions, because emotions are in your head, you know. We perceive as human beings, you know, good and evil, but it doesn't exist. Things are, you know, if that shit falls over and goes on your phone, you're gonna be fucking drink, you know, but the drink just fell on your phone. I'm not saying I'm gonna do that or make an extra example, but you know, it's how we perceive things. You know?
That's tempting mayhem. Is what you're
it is. But the point I'm just making
Why
is
would
that,
you do that?
Things are how we perceive them. You know, we can either try and control them and make, you know, minimize whatever pain it is and not get emotional and understand things just are and we're just part of it, or we can think that things are out to get us. You know, that it's karma. And, you know, it might hurt people's feelings, but karma really is just you know, how good your memory is on good and bad things. Because a lot of people, when they're on a bad one, they're only going to remember about the bad things that happen, and they're not going to balance themselves out with the good things that happen. You know, and they think it's karma. You know, or when good things happen, it's the same thing. You know,
it's just life, man. As shitty as it is, man, it's just life.
Ongoing things along with memory and perception and how you react to it. You know, so that's how I go based about a lot of things. While at the same time still being human, because I make a lot of mistakes. I'll still sometimes like get sent these stuff. People will tell me something because I'm used to it, but if I can grab a hold of it, I'll try and be like, you know what, this shit doesn't fucking matter.
Grab a hold of it, put it in a little jar, and put it in your pocket for later.
For later, when nobody sees me and I can cry into it. Well, the worst time that I handled it, or the worst time that it got me?
The worst time, and you handled it, and the worst time when it got you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the worst time I didn't handle it, and it's kind of like a repetition of the same thing when it has happened, which is a combination of me getting sent these at the audience, getting angry at the audience because they're not here to see me and or whatever, you know, and then I start, you know, my material somehow turns either darker along with my performance because I start projecting my anger and disdain towards the audience. So, and it's pretty much the same thing when that happens, because then, you know, I start either telling angrier jokes or telling jokes that'll insult or demean the audience, and then when I walk off in a very awkward...
I did that one time.
Right?
It's immaculate.
Yeah, well, that's happened to me several times. It doesn't happen all the time, and it has happened to me in a long time, but that's probably like the worst. that I couldn't handle, and it'll happen anytime that you know, one, I drink too much and I smoke, because you know they'll still get me. You know, drinking wise, I'm getting better at it because I didn't drink a lot, but I'm drinking again because I lost a lot of weight before, and I used to drink at a different weight level. You know, bing bing, and then when I lost weight, I need to relearn it, which I'm getting better at. But anyways, and then the best time that I got heckled and I handled it was the show I did in El Centro. And it was this guy, three guys in like a middle table of the show, the barbecue place, and they had their girlfriend, and I don't know what they're trying to show off for, but they started screaming stuff, you know, like I was doing the middle of my set, and they were screaming stuff, you know, interrupting me, and then after a while, like fucking about 4 minutes into my set, they sent their girlfriend up onto the stage because there was a couch, you know, and as she was walking up and she sat on the couch, this lazy boy couch right behind us, the guy started screaming, "What are you gonna do now, bro? What are you gonna do now?" You know, and I was like, nothing. So then I went over and I started interviewing her, you know, and I started just talking to her, and you know, I tried some jokes or whatever, but you know, and you know, the audience had a great time. They were laughing about it, and then you know, she got up and she left, you know, and then the guy started screaming, "Oh man, you got to walk away, dog. You got to walk away."
You got to walk away.
Yeah, and I was like, it's all right, man. It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last. You know, and the audience laughs, and they have a good time and shit. So then that motherfucker jumps onto the couch, you know. Right after that, I start trying to tell another story, and then it takes about a minute and a half, and he jumps on the couch. Yeah. So then, so then I go and I grab the mic. I try and grab the mic, and I just go and I sit on his lap, you know. Well, not on his lap, on his side, and I start trying to interview him. You know, I start fucking with him. You know, there's a joke I say that is, you know, I have a lot of friends, but I don't have a lot of close friends. I don't have what you call BFFs. You know, because I don't let any of my friends butt fuck me, you know. So sometimes I open with that, you know, and this time I happened to open with that. So, you know, when I was in the middle of talking with him, he was just like trying to be a smartass and whatever, and I was talking about his friends. I'm like, are you just trying to, you know, whatever? And then in the end, I'm like, oh, I know that guy over there. He's your BFF and shit. So then the audience just started laughing their ass off at him. In the end, you know, I got him really good. You can actually watch the tape. It's on my website, the video. I was recorded. And it's pretty funny, and it turns out those two guys were prison guards and shit. And after the show, yeah, after the show, the third friend was like, "Hey man, you got him good," and whatever. It was really fun. You know, it was one of the best times I had. My material wasn't like the best, because you know, or like I don't even know what it was, but it was. They kind of made my show better because I didn't take it personal and I really went with it, and it was a lot of fun. You can watch it. It's on benGarciaReyes.com. It's in the videos. It was fun.
I wish I had the video for the heckle thing that happened to me not long ago.
I just got lucky. I just got lucky that I happened to record it. You know, it wasn't El Centro, so I took my camera.
What was it? That was the one. That was one of the ones where they said, "You're fat." It's too bad. What was it? Saying something about sex is what it was, and he goes, "Man, hope the lights were turned out. I would have hated to see that." And I go, "Yeah, you should be happy the lights are dim on your end. That way nobody else can see the stretch marks around your mouth."
Yeah, that's the one you said at the American Comedy.
That's what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious because that just like, and it just went, the audience just,
fun. That was a
just
good
kept,
one.
yeah, because you were going out of a while. Like I was trying to come back at you, and then boom, that shit was funny. I think, did Edgar record that?
I don't know.
I don't think he did. Maybe ask him. Maybe he recorded it because he was rolling with us that day. You know, and he's always like, "Oh, you want me to record it? You want me to get your shit?" But yeah, so yeah, heckler wise, yeah. Now I'm like I said, a lot of times now my approach is you know, even if people test me, I'm gonna try and just give them some love. Hope, and I like Louis C.K. the big names, along with the bigger name was Chris Rock, which is everybody's kind of like.
The best was when I was up at the Improv.
There's a lot of no name, well not like no name comics. How do I say unknown comics, because they have a name and they should be known.
But yeah, when I up at the Improv though, I was talking to one of the guys that's like a regular there. He's always hanging out there. He goes, "Yeah, a couple weeks ago, Stanhope was here." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, man. He was pulled up in a limo, got out, and he was all fucking drunk." I was like, "Yeah, dude, what happened?" He goes, "He went up on stage and did like 45 minutes or like an hour, and it just killed."
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn, really?" He
That's
goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh man, I wish I could have been here for that." And like his, man, I still have to hear his new one. I haven't heard. Did he turn the gun on himself?
No, I haven't heard that one.
That's a brand new one.
I haven't downloaded that one.
Supposedly, I don't think he really gives a fuck, but he supposedly, what was it? was doing all that material when I saw him at Winston's. And OB, man, it was fucking. Oh,
yeah, was
man,
it good?
It was good. It was good.
I forgot to ask
I'm kind of
people.
biased. I'm a big Doug Stanhope fan myself. And
well, sometimes
it blows my mind.
Sometimes with the baby, yeah. Well, I love listening to every time because it gets me every time, even though I know a lot of it sometimes. But you know, like seeing it live is a different experience. So
when I saw him,
I didn't get to go to Winston's that time.
He seemed like he was holding back because he even said that I don't want to do any of my old material. I got a bunch of this new material I want to get out before the album comes out, so that way it's still new to you right now. So I want to get all this out, and he would start doing it.
That's
and
cool.
You could hear it starting to lead into like one of his old bits.
Yeah.
I was like, crossing my fingers for the tranny story, but no.
Yeah, that tranny story is funny.
I remember
Everything in my pocket.
I
ain't got your wallet.
One of the shows I went and saw him, he was saying, just yell out, what do you want to hear? What do you guys want me to talk about? What do you guys want me to say? Yeah, say anything. And I kept on yelling, say the tranny story. Do it. But nah, to no avail. I would have loved it though.
Well, you probably will next time you see it.
Besides the obvious comics that you just mentioned, which is probably why I'm friends with you. Who is somebody you kind of look up to that people would be surprised that you would be into that person? As far as
well, you notice like I said, the ones that were alive, I have like a lot. I don't have one specific one. I'd like to see all of them because there was greatness in them. I don't have a top 10 list, but some of the ones I listen to a lot and I watch a lot for many reasons. I listen to a lot of George Carlin because he may not have always been pop like some comics are now. They're just mind blowing, but he has so much wisdom, and you can kind of see him evolve. With just slapstick funny shit to as he's dying and he's older. He's just like angry, not angry at the world, but he's like, I'm just a resident of this planet, and I'm telling you how it is type thing.
It was almost poetic watching him.
Yeah, and the last one's right. That's why I think maybe that's why he's like people like they didn't want to clap or just be like, oh shit, that's fucking, because people were trusting with what he was saying. But him, I really liked Greg Giraldo before he passed. I can't say enough.
Dude, he's the reason I got that Insomniac tour DVD.
Oh, that's cool,
Greg
man.
Giraldo's on that.
Yeah, with a couple of the cats. I actually like David Tell. He's funny too. But the cats are the ones I'm glad, like Bill Hicks. Like he's one of my favorites. Like I said, another guy that wasn't necessarily the type of comic that you can see all places anywhere, but just his opinions. Maybe not necessarily the rage, but he meant it. And he performed it. And like you can, I haven't seen a performance on him where it seems like he's phoning it in. Like he always seems like he's kind of there and he's kind of like, yeah, and this is what's going on. So Bill Hicks. But I also like a lot of black comics. Patrice O'Neal, fucking funny, and Chris Rock. You gotta represent Ari Spears.
For a while, I was hearing Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle were supposed to tour.
Yeah, well, Chappelle, I like him because everything that's happened with like the whole marijuana and then getting out of the showbiz type thing, that has kind of brought me to that attention to him. And then there's people that are like locals around here that I kind of like to watch. And locals in LA, there's this guy named Tony Baker that I think is from the Comedy Store in LA. I've seen him perform a lot, and I like what he does. He's really funny, and like he's a known cat.
It's fun being into people like that.
Yeah, the people
Partly
don't know
because
about
nobody
it
else knows about them.
until then they kind of see them or something, and there's a lot of comics.
No disrespect, that came out kind of wrong.
No, no, it didn't, man. Maybe you think you did, or you're thinking for other people, but it's a comment that you said.
Have you ever heard of Jason Rouse?
Yeah.
Jason Rouse, fucking hilarious.
I've seen his name like on Facebook. I don't think I remember him seeing.
Me and Damien Pruitt.
Yeah.
Check him out on Twitter.
Yeah.
And me and Damien went up to LA one time when I had a show. We took another friend of mine up there, and we wound up after the show I was on, going to watch the Monsters of Comedy. That's like one of my favorite tours. I'm happy I was able to see some of it.
No, live or
live?
Oh, that's cool, man.
At Sal's over in Los Angeles on Melrose.
Dude, I still haven't been able to check out one of those tours or anything like that.
Chris Neff, who's fucking hilarious. Jason Rouse. Sam Tripoli was on that show.
Yeah, that guy's
Ari Shaffir was on that show.
Ari Shaffir's funny.
And the dude from down here, Will C.
Will C, yeah.
Will C was on that show too.
I think I've seen
all
out of him.
funny.
But hey, man, like some of the credentials speak for themselves sometimes,
Hilarious, dude. Chris Neff,
cool.
check him out, and Jason Rouse, check him out, dude.
Yeah, well,
Tony Baker, check it. I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah, I like him. I've seen him different times too. And so like he has, well, I'm not gonna tell you. You guys should probably find out or check him out live. But there was this one bit he did one time at a show. I happened to book myself on him by accident, but he was like the headliner, where like the audience was just like they had nothing, no response, And he made it so funny. He brought them out, just talking about how he loved being in silence, and he enjoyed it. And just being grateful and stuff like that. It was a good bit. I haven't seen him do it in a while, but he's a good comic. He's like on the diversity and the NBC diversity tour and stuff. So eventually he might pop up, but I'm gonna try to get him on the show down here whenever I can, because I think he's just so funny.
I chipped out when you had Villasenor on your show that time.
Which one?
Melissa Villasenor.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and
right
have her
before,
down.
like a month before.
America's Got Talent, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. She's such a sweetheart. She's such a nice girl.
Chip me out is because I wanted to be on one of those shows up in LA one time, and she was on the show as well, and I was like, where the fuck is this chick from?
Yeah,
she's
funny.
fucking funny.
Yeah, she's
hilarious.
She's really nice too, man.
Yeah, she's a really nice
humble
person.
And she's so cool. Next year, hopefully this summer I'm gonna get her down here. Some of the shows I'm doing a Tres X comedy show at the American Comedy Company on June 10th. And we're gonna have Zivago Brea, who was on on Comedy Central Stand Up Revolution, Gabriel Iglesias, and he's gonna be headlining for us. And I'm gonna be featuring, and we're gonna have on this show we're gonna have some people. We're gonna have Medicinal Mike in there. We're gonna have Jose Barrientos. We're gonna have a couple of other cats. And if this show goes good next month, I'm gonna have you on there, and more people. It's not gonna be specifically just for the brown crowd, but it's gonna be themed as such, I guess. I don't know, but come check it out if you can. $10 a pop. It's on a Sunday and it starts at 8 o'clock.
American Comedy Company is a cool club too.
Yeah, it's really nice, man. It's a nice date spot. Everything's like brand new in there, and it's on the heart of the gas lamp. I believe it's 681 or 6 something.
6th and
6. Well, it's on 6th Avenue, 818, I believe. 6th Avenue B is 818B,
sure.
Something like that. But it's in
There's a marquee outside. You'll see it.
Yeah, it's on 6th Avenue and like F and 6th or something, between F and E. Anyways, but yeah. So yeah, that's what's up with that shit.
What projects you working on
trying to get
right
it
now?
down.
Besides the American Comedy Company.
Besides that show, I do the Salty Frog the first Monday of the month down in Imperial Beach. Yeah, that one's always a free show. We're sponsored by the bar and by a couple and rotating sponsors. If you want to sponsor, hit us up too. We'll give away your stuff and we'll tell them at the live show about you or whatever. And it's kind of symbiotic. It's not really to make any money. But come out, have some fun.
You got video from the last one that we were all on, right?
Yeah, I think I do. I still have it in the memory bank, so I'll get it to you. But that's what I'm doing live, and then I work on the Nug Life radio show.
You should send me a clip of each of ours.
I will.
Then that could be the bonus footage for the end.
Yeah, for reals. And I also do Medi Mike's Medi World podcast, which you can find also on nugliferadio.com. I do an OBSPN. You can find the streams on Justin TV, and you can follow me on Twitter to get the links. No BSPN, no budget stoner television. You can follow me on Twitter at Benji Garcia.
Boom.
_Benji Garcia. And the website Ben GarciaReyes for anything else, bookings, videos, and also Staying Up with Benji. That's the name of my talk show. Tommy was a host.
Okay.
Boom. We're gonna
right there. There's another logo right there saying the show he was on.
We're gonna come back probably by the end of the summer. So if you guys want to check that out, it's gonna be different than what everybody else is doing, but at the same time, it's gonna kind of be how can I say? It's gonna help out. It's gonna try and also focus everything. But it's good. It's gonna be fun, but just with this guy and everything low budget again.
What show was that again?
Staying Up with Benji. You can like it on
Boom!
Facebook.
Right there.
Like it on Facebook.
He's gonna send me the logo for that, so when I do
Yeah,
that, it's gonna look really fucking cool.
You're gonna look awesome.
Editing, bro. Windows Movie Maker.
Getting there. Okay. Over up. You need to put some fire on that.
Wait, do it again.
Oh.
Set it down in rain, back up in precipitation.
Right, like that. Well, that's good. My precipitation in my face, it came down. That was wonderful. But that's good time.
My goal is to get you to sweat.
Well, Thomas, you did.
Without touching you.
It was intense. I really felt I was under a lot of scrutiny here. Michael. You really made your points, and you didn't hold anything back.
Okay. I would personally like to thank you for sitting here with me.
No, thank you for having me, man. It was a good time. We normally don't have time to do because we get busy, but at least this time we did it. We caught it on tape.
And now what's going to be cool is it's going to fade, and you're going to see some Salty Frog footage. Peace. Coffee with the Roach. Benji GarciaReyes, Salty Frog.
BenGarciaReyes.com.
American Comedy Company. Tres X Show. What's the date?
June 10th.
June 10th.
8 o'clock.
Boom. Out.
Come
Fade out.
Come smoke free weed with me.
Wow, that was amazeballs. We're going to show with a personal friend of mine. I just want to let you guys set you up for this. This guy, he's one of my closest friends. He's not just black, he's also a nerd. So every time I see Mikey, this guy, I'm like, hey, what's up, my N-word? And he gets mad. He's like, yo, man, you don't need to say N-word. Just call me nerd. And I'm like, no, bro. That's your word.
Children. It's just science. That's what that is. Fucking hell. There's no couples in here tonight, right? It's like a sausage party. Hi-yo! Thank you, Ed McMahon from the grave. Right on. I recently broke up with my girl. Thank you. You must have known that bitch, right? Fucking hell. Up top, bro. Up top. Oh. Fucking skated right out of chlamydia area is what we did there. Good times. Nobody needs that shit in their life. Oh, close up of a midlife crisis is what we got there, kids. One time for the 40-year-old man wearing a Spider-Man sweater. That's right.